All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to check in with Galvin. Are you prepared? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Are we prepared on Bone TV?
Yes, sir.
Whether you're watching or listening, I put up some new stuff yesterday on our Instagram as well. I feel like I have to tell you about that because we're not showing snapshots on Instagram, so we don't get in the algorithm like everybody else does. I mean, Joe, would you be willing to drop a roast beef sandwich behind you and show your BH?
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Your dedication is
Doesn't wear
beyond
underwear.
compare.
No, I do not.
Seriously though, if you haven't checked out our stuff on Instagram, please do so at the Mike Calta Show. Leave us a like, a comment, whatever you want to do, repost it. Right now, we check in with Galvin. He has a brand new open letter.
And now, an open letter from Galvin.
This is an open letter to people that just don't get it. Dear people that just don't get it. Seriously? So my wife told me the other day that I have a lot of rules, which I agree with. Certain things annoy me that really I probably shouldn't let annoy me, but I'm going to tell them to you anyway. The proper way to put shoes on is sock, shoe, sock, shoe. The only way to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is to put peanut butter on one side of the bread and then jelly on top of the peanut butter. And a lot of people agree with me, but a lot of people don't because I see it all the time. You don't wear the shirt of the band you're going to see in concert to said concert. Those are some of the things that people do that annoy me. And I'm not saying that I'm always right, but I'm always right. You know who doesn't get it? People that comment on pictures on Instagram. But their comment has nothing to do with the actual picture. Like I'll put up a picture of, let's say, I don't know, maybe a dog. And then someone will comment on it, but not like, oh, that's a cute dog, or I want to pet that dog. Instead, they'll write, tell Spanish he's an idiot. One, of course I'm going to tell Spanish he's an idiot, but only because I want to tell Spanish he's an idiot, not because you told me to.
Right.
But that's not what the comment section is for. Don't send me messages in the comments. That's what email or DMs are for. But honestly, the best thing for you to do is to write it down on a piece of paper and then light that paper on fire because I don't care what you think. Other people that don't get it are people that send me DMs that I've never opened. You can tell if someone has read your message. I have a bunch of people that are restricted, which means they had a chance. They blew it by sending me something stupid, so I restricted them. I didn't block them because I'm nice. And now when they send me stuff, I just delete it. But they keep sending me stuff. Stop it. You can see that I never opened it. I don't look at it, and I've never responded. Just stop wasting both of our time and send it to somebody else. I'm Galvin from the Mike Calta Show, and this has been an open letter to people that just don't get it.
What perplexes me about that, Galvin, is the people who send us news stuff.
Yeah.
Like a breaking news story hours after the news story broke. Did you hear there was aliens in Miami 3 days after it happened? Yes, we saw the story. It's the number one news story going. Did you think that us being a news source and having social media, we possibly didn't see a big story? That blows my mind. You know, the Bucks are playing Monday Night Football. Yeah, I know. We posted it 2 hours ago. And it's weird because I don't get mad because I know there are people who are trying to help, but common sense sometimes really would help us all out.
I got hit yesterday so much with the tunnels. Everybody was like, did you see the tunnels? I was like, I've been seeing tunnels, baby.
So I had to call Spanish yesterday. Very rarely do I say this to explain something to me. So there was a synagogue in New York City that had an underground tunnel. And the underground tunnel was it was almost a fight between the police and the folks at the church or the synagogue because the police were destroying the tunnel. And I'm like, well, first of all, why do they care about the tunnel and what are they doing? And Spanish explained to me that the story is that supposedly they're trafficking people through the tunnels and that's why they're keeping them hidden. And when the police saw it, they had to make sure everything was clear because they found some toys in there and they wanted to make sure there weren't kids
and
being
stained mattresses.
Well, that's what, whenever you brought up the tunnels the other day, I said like the ones in New York where they're pulling the mattresses out and doing all that stuff. And they're actually welding the grates back down so people can't get back in there.
So I mean, in those underground tunnels, there could be a whole bunch of different from the simple explanation to the far out. I wonder if Brad Meltzer is going to join us, knows anything about them because he's into all that weird.
I hope
conspiracy
so.
stuff, and he knows some secret government stuff.
By the way, I saw somebody put because they had the tunnels and the Jewish people and all this stuff, and they go, "Whoever had sewer Jews for 2024."
That's Mike Cannon.
Yeah.
That was Mike
is it?
Cannon. Yeah. It was funny, but the thing was that I didn't understand why they were fighting over it and why they were destroying it. Explain what you were saying to me.
So the theory is that a lot of those tunnels are used by different groups of people to traffic children for all types of reasons.
Now, right away, as you're saying this, I go, "Oh, again with the children thing," and then Spanish says, "You ever notice how there's hundreds and hundreds of kids that go missing that are never ever seen or found? Nobody recognizes them; they disappear." And I went,
80,000 kids a year.
And I went, "Wow, okay, maybe they're in an underground tunnel system." And then go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and then when I looked deeper back, I was telling you guys yesterday about the company that was building the pneumatic tunnels back in the 20s, and that was bought out by the government, and it became a government contract. And then all the information about that went away. And then you have people that I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of years ago there was an archaeologist that was digging in the Grand Canyon, and he found tunnels with a bunch of Egyptian artifacts, and they couldn't explain it, and the tunnels went to Egypt.
Yeah,
and they say there are tunnels under Vatican. Yeah.
Under what? Under the ocean?
Under pretty much, because remember, right where the ocean ends, at the bottom of the ocean, there are aquifers and all types of undersea lakes and lagoons that they found. So it's been pretty wild. And I don't know what's real or not, but you can look up the pneumatic tunnels. The guy's name was Beach.
So Beach. I looked it up when you told me, and there's a lot of truth to it. So now, with all the information that Spanish said, which doesn't seem too far fetched, an underground system. Maybe one time it was a travel system. Maybe they were trying to build it for military or something like that. But now that the tunnels exist, we do know that New York for sure has underground tunnels for one reason or another.
Right.
Whether it's just be getting from one side to another. But then it reminds me of that story where they said that there was a child pedophile ring and it was in the basement of a pizza place, and you're like, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard. Well, now you mix the tunnels into the story and yesterday's thing, and then you start going, all right, hold on. Again, don't get all crazy. Don't be like, oh God, he's buying it. I'm just saying, I'm just listening to what you're saying, and I'm trying to make some sense of it. And if that guy had half his information right, there is an underground tunnel system, and they were using that to transport kids so nobody saw them. And one of the entrance points was this pizza place.
Correct.
That would be insane.
Yeah. How many kids did you say go missing?
80,000 was what was the last I read.
That's in America.
In the U.S., 460,000
disappear.
Disappear.
See? So and
go missing. So I don't know whether they find any of them, but they're saying 460,000 children go missing in the United States every year.
Remember the Eisenberg? They never found her.
Yeah,
never found the body.
Sabrina
So
that's
that's
one.
one. Yeah.
Let's see if we can name the rest of that.
But I'm just thinking one here that was local.
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember when that hotel collapsed in Miami?
Do I? It's costing me so much money in my homeowners association insurance fees right now.
So when that tunnel collapsed, they discovered all these artifacts and a pyramid system that was way deeper than what everyone scientist said that we should be able to dig in Florida because of the limestone. So there's just all these little coincidences that when you start looking at the big picture and seeing how the systems work, there's all these major cities with these major players they're all connected.
Bobby said it right. Just give me the blue pill. Let me
too
take
late.
it again. I don't want to know. I don't
Sorry,
want to know
Michael. Your eyes are open now. There's no going back. Yeah, I know. It's weird.
I feel like my only choice is to become a rebel.
Yeah, well, and then don't forget you have the subterranean troops that we looked up. The $500 million in money has gone to that. No, then they won't tell anybody what the training is.
I'll tell you what the problem is. I don't want to think that you make sense. I want to think you're crazy and the dumb stuff that you say and your half truths and all that. But the more you start digging around and look at stuff, the more you realize how weird some of this stuff is, but how much fact is behind it.
Yeah,
and have you gone down the Mandela effect yet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that on the show. Explain that, Carmen.
Well, so basically it's just like something that you remember differently than how it actually happened.
Like I remember the example we used was the mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
Right.
She never actually says it's magic mirror on the wall.
Well, so there was a lady who said like the Fruit of Balloons, with that company, they used to
Fruit of what?
Fruit of Balloons. No,
Fruit
not
of the
balloons.
loons?
Fruit of
First, I think you said fruit balloons.
Fruit of Balloons.
What is it?
Fruit of the Loom.
Whoa.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
Fruit of the Loom.
Fruit of the Loom. Okay, but you
Yeah,
started
Fruit
out
of
where you said fruit balloons.
Right, correct. Listen,
Then you
when,
said fruit of the looms.
when you say it fast, fruit balloons.
Okay.
Fruit of the Loom.
You wouldn't know. You don't wear underwear.
Exactly. But this lady was like certain that they had a cornucopia. The fruit was in a cornucopia.
Yes.
Okay? The little thing.
Uh,
And the company came out and was like, no, we never had it. They released a picture of all their old signage and stuff like that.
I
and there
see
was-
it in my head. The
Yeah,
cornucopia.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so the company put out pictures of their old signs, right? And this lady dug into her old clothes, and the company swore that there was no cornucopia ever in their sign, right? This lady goes and finds a T-shirt that had it.
Oh, why are they lying?
Son of a bitches.
So-
'Cause
so
that's
now-
how they keep the kids.
Well, no, so they're saying the Mandela effect, but like the government and all these people are going to see what they can basically get away with.
So,
And confuse the public by saying like, no, this never happened, but it really did happen. And since there's not a lot of proof of it, how can we be right? But this lady like proved the point. But
yeah,
so
because
the-
I remember. I remember seeing that
Same.
too.
Yeah.
Right.
What was Mandela? Like what
Nelson
was it?
Mandela, people thought he had died in prison.
No, but he died after his release,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Chris Rock jokes. Is like,
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela was in prison for 40 years, got out and divorced his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, stayed
Yeah.
by him the whole time.
Well,
Got out and had freedom and still couldn't live with her.
they say the Mandela effect is from jumping timelines, like
Yes.
dimensionally. Yeah. Which I didn't used to
or
believe.
they're like crossing over.
Yeah, but recently the solar flares that have been hitting Earth because Mercury is now out of the way
Mhm.
between the sun and the Earth
And in Gatorade.
and in Gatorade, yeah. The actual frequency and vibration that the Earth puts off is moving upwards. So they're saying that is a lot of reason why people have the Mandela effect is because you are from a timeline where that vibration wasn't the same, and your brain and the atoms are trying to rectify the two, but they can't. So that's why we remember the cornucopia where the company they say they never had it.
But can I tell you also what? And this is going to sound nuts, but that's when I say I have panic attacks.
Yeah,
That's
no.
when I feel like I'm remembering something that didn't
Right.
happen.
I'm telling you right now,
Oh no!
There-
Don't make me astral project.
there are hundreds of thousands of people that have been experiencing the same thing that you have, and they write about it. I've sent you the gateway tapes because a lot of those people experience it, and then they do the gateway tapes, and it helps them level out.
Listen, it never ends for people like me. If they just keep
No.
going panic attack and taking medicine, it'll all go away.
No,
But if I start reading books and astral projecting, that's when the government comes to me and shuts me down.
yeah, no. Listen. I don't like to get real spiritual on here because I know a lot of people
Oh, here
are
we
really
go.
into that. But if you were to dive into that part of yourself, I think you would be very shocked at what you will find. Because
Any conversation that starts off with me, like, listen, I don't want to get too weird, but I go, oh, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to hear any of
because
that.
you have a different advantage than like I would or Gio or Joe. Galvin was probably about the same as you because the more you drink, the more calcified your pineal gland is. And if you don't drink,
Right.
that means that you do not have very much of a calcified pineal gland, which means that you could probably do more things
Still
than I would
big,
during
it's still hard,
meditation.
it's still long.
Yeah, well, that just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, I don't like to get all weird. with
I missed what
spirituality
you were
stuff.
saying. You're saying I'm better than you.
Yeah, 100%.